Hello and welcome. I want to see who we've got here. Let's see. Emma. Hi, Emma. Emma, if you are able to post in the chat box, please do that. I want to make sure that I can get your questions answered and see what you're typing. Okay. All right, now we've got Cassandra, Renee, hi. Will you let me know if you can see me and hear me by posting in the chat box? I'm starting a few minutes early because I want to make sure that this platform is working. Oh, good. Hey, Emma. Awesome. Yay. So happy that it's working. Well, we're going to be starting soon. Hi, Violet. So just to let you guys all know, this is a new platform for me. This is Webinar Jam, and I'm accustomed to using Instant Teleseminar and using GoToWebinar. So bear with me today. I'm so glad that you're here. And I want to see if I can get the Q&A box working, and that is not working. Okay. So here's what we're going to do while I'm running this webinar. If you have questions, I'm going to have you go ahead and post in the chat box. Thank you, Renee. Okay, so I don't have the Q&A section working, and so I'm going to be having you post your questions in the chat box today. And I will figure that out for next time. And we will be starting in 5 minutes. This is really cool. I wish I could see all of you. That would be even more fun. Okay, so while we are waiting, what I would love to do, it's so funny seeing yourself, you're like adjusting. While we're waiting to get started, if you would post in the chat box, what do you want me to cover on this webinar? I've got a whole agenda, but I want to know what questions you have about booking discovery sessions. And what questions can I answer for you? And I do have a poll right here that I'd love you to answer if you are a coach or not. And this training call will definitely give you a lot of support if you are not a coach and if you're a service provider. So I want to find that out. Okay, we've got Liz. Hi, Liz. So go ahead and post in the chat box, what do you most want to hear about today? Because I want to make sure I can cover as much as I can. It is Saturday morning here. We're going to start in about 6 minutes. And my daughter has just woken up. I can hear her. So I'm going to text my husband to get her out of her crib. She's saying, Mama. All right. So if you can post in the chat box what you would most like to learn today about booking discovery sessions. And we are going to be starting in 3 minutes. So we've got about 50% of you are coaches and 50% of you are not. I'm assuming that you're probably a service provider because that's what I'm really going to be speaking to is service providers, coaches. Who else do we have here? Marianne, woohoo. Hi, Marianne. A lot of my clients on here today. So go ahead and post in the chat box, what is your biggest struggle with booking discovery sessions, with conducting discovery sessions? Awesome. Camille. Is that the Camille that I know? Yes, it is. Hi, Camille. Lorna. Okay, so if you could all answer the poll, are you a coach? 67% of you are coaches. Okay, the rest of you are probably service providers, so that's perfect. And please post in the chat box what you, no, I can't see you, Violet. I can't see you. The way this works is you guys can see me, but I cannot see you. So I don't know if there's another option for that, but this is, I'm brand new to Webinar Jam. I'm more accustomed to GoToWebinar. So maybe we'll do that another time where we can all see each other. Good morning, Marianne. So we have a question. What do most women need help with? Is it social media? Is it QuickBooks? Actually, you know, good morning, Cassandra. This is so cool. All right, so let's help out Renee, who's a virtual assistant. Go ahead and post. Violet, you're so funny. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Violet, and I can't see you. That's funny. Okay, let's help Renee out, and go ahead and post in the chat box. What do you as coaches most need help with? Is it social media? Is it QuickBooks? What are the things that take up your time and you wish you could delegate? And we can help out Renee with that question. Because you got a lot of people on here, Renee, that could answer that question for you. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna welcome all of you and let you know what to expect. And then I won't be doing the video the whole time, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but I'll kind of be switching back and forth. So anyway, welcome officially to how to stay booked with discovery sessions and how to convert 8 out of 10 of your discovery sessions or consults, whatever you may call them. My name is Jessica Riverson. My company is Permission to Charge. And if you're on here, you probably know that because this was mainly promoted through my email list and a little bit on Facebook. So I want to welcome you. Thanks for spending your Saturday with me. It might be afternoon for you, but it's morning for me. Could be evening depending on where you are. I think we've got some UK people here. But I want to welcome you. And I got a lot of good questions that came in. So I'm just going to read a couple of them so you know that I will be answering your questions. People were asking, this is all from Facebook. People were saying, I want to know, you know, how do I get people to respond to my discovery session offer? How do I respond to the I can't afford it question? What happens if a client signs up and then they want to run because of fear? What's the best way to overcome the I can't afford it, or I need to think about it, or I need to talk to my husband? And how to make sure you're delivering value. So we're going to cover some of those questions, and I'm going to cover a lot of information. I have so much information to cover with you all that it's just insane. Please have a notepad ready and just stay focused, because look, there's so many webinars, and I'm guilty of this too, but if you're on this webinar, you want to learn something, get something out of it, go and implement that thing. So try not to be on Facebook and doing other things, because it's just going to water down what you're learning, and you want to walk away from this, go implement something and get a result. So I want to remind you let's just focus. Again, this is a new platform. I'm used to GoToWebinar, so I don't know all the bells and whistles of Webinar Jam. So thank you for being my guinea pigs, I guess I should say. And so for that reason, you're not going to see my beautiful slides that I usually have. You get to see me. That's cool, right? But I am going to turn off the camera for a part of the presentation just so that I can focus and not be as distracted myself. When I get a little more comfortable with the platform, I'll show slides. So probably my next webinar, which will be next week, I will, what's it going to be next week? I think it's going to be the following week. I'll show slides and all that good stuff. But for today, we're going to keep it fairly low tech. So you're going to be mainly listening to the presentation, taking notes, and all questions need to go in the chat box. So I'll be checking that frequently. Let's see here, I'm just checking. Oh, so someone told me I froze. If I freeze, we are using Google Hangout. That's the platform. So just know that, I'll be back if I freeze on you. It could be your connection or it could be my connection, just depends. But again, I will not be using slides today. This will mainly be audio once we get going. But that's because I want to make sure that I stay on track and I give you everything that you came here for. And what else did I want to make sure I cover before we start here? Okay, so you're probably on this call because getting discovery sessions booked and converting them is a problem. And it might be such a problem that you have even thought about, oh my God, if I don't solve this problem, I'm gonna have to close my business. And really that's the reality. If we don't get enough leads and we don't convert those leads, we don't have a business. So you're in the right place. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what you can do about that. If you don't know who I am, I just want to give like the short version because I hate it when I get on a webinar and it's really long-winded. I'm totally guilty of that. We're 5 minutes in. So I want to tell you who I am, what I do, and then just move forward so you can start getting some really good information. So my name is Jessica Riverson. My company is Permission to Charge. It's an online coaching and training company. Really honored that I have, over the past 4 years, developed it so that I have clients all over the world that I get to talk to on Skype or do these fun kind of webinars. And how that came about was me starting out as a coach, really struggling, really not being able to charge my worth and being so afraid of that question, what do you charge, that I would like choke, just like freeze up and I could barely say my prices. And through that process, and I'm not going to go into all the details of it today, but a lot of tears, a lot of frustration, a lot of like flinging myself on the couch and being like, that's where the Permission to Charge brand evolved. I did rebrand. I started with a different brand. And the sales portion of my business came out of the fact that you can charge your worth till the cows come home, but if you can't enroll someone into your business, into your services, it doesn't matter that you're charging your worth. So my husband is a sales trainer, and he's a sales trainer that's won lots of awards and all kinds of cool stuff like that. And he began coaching me. And I say coaching lightly because really he was in my face grilling me. And that's how I developed a lot of my sales skills. Now, I had been selling before I met him, but that was with my other company. And I didn't really have any sales training per se, just a little bit of training. So he helped me to become good at overcoming objections, to become more confident, to become more direct with people. And so I'm going to teach you some of the things that he has taught me over the years, and we've developed our own sales program together. The good news for you is the style that I teach it in is not in your face. I've put it into a language that you can use more comfortably with your clients, and it's a more I want to say feminine, but I've had men use the sales script and some of the sales processes too. But it's a little more elegant, a little bit more graceful. It's perfect for coaching. Also, a lot of you that are on the call have taken my instant pay raise program, and so more and more people are kind of knowing me for that, which is my flagship program, which is helping you to price and package your expertise. I do teach you a little bit of intro to soulful sales. But I don't go as in depth as I'm going to on the program that I have coming up. So with that being said, I'm going to be totally upfront and let you know that I'm going to give a ton of value today, and I'm going to take at least 5 minutes to tell you about my program that teaches you to book discovery sessions and convert those discovery sessions. And I'll tell you why that's different, or why it's more in depth than the program some of you have already taken. And if that bugs you, that I have something to offer, then it may not be the call for you. And also it could be one of the reasons why you might be struggling with sales. Because if it really bugs you that someone would give a lot of value and then make an offer, you may not be making offers. And that may be one reason you're not getting discovery sessions booked. So don't want to offend anyone, but I do have something to share with you. And so I'll do that at some point during the call. So keep that in mind. And I thought a lot about that before today's call. And, I've done a lot of webinars, and you can go in different directions when you do speaking or webinars. Originally, I thought, I'm going to offer a free consultation at the end. And, then I decided, look, we're all here on the phone or on the computer, whatever. And we're wanting to learn, we're wanting to move forward in our business. And one of the things I'm teaching you is how to make offers. And so if I don't make an offer and I don't tell you the magic that I've got to share, then I'm not really leading by example. And I don't like to have it be something where I'm beating around the bush. I just want to tell you now, I'm going to teach you a ton of stuff right now. And then I will also share with you how you can take this information further if you truly want to master it. So I'm going to go ahead and check the chat box really quick. That's where you can put your questions. And thank you so much for your positive responses. Let's see here. Again, I don't have the Q&A box working. Definitely a newbie to Webinar Jam. So we'll handle that on a future webinar. All questions, put them in the chat box. And I'll just review some of the questions. People are asking, what about social media metrics? What is the best way to get them? I need to know, I know what social media metrics is, but I kind of want to know more of what you're asking. And I may not be the person to answer that either. So just tell me more exactly what you're asking, and I will answer that question. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, take the video part off so I can really focus on what I have to share with you and not focus on whether my hair is in place or something like that. And as I get more comfortable with Webinar Jam, I'll get over all that stuff. But for now, I'm going to turn the camera off so I can really get down to business and what you want to learn today. And so I'm going to do that now. You can still see my face. So could someone go ahead and post in the chat box that if you can still hear me, because I just want to make sure that I haven't turned off, anything. So if someone can go and post in the chat box, let me know that you can hear me so that we are still on track here. And I just want to welcome everyone else that's come in, Rhiannon, Nicole, Gail. Hey, Gail, Rima, Cedric, awesome. Sherry, Connie, Catherine, so glad to have you all here. Yes, you can hear me. Awesome. Thank you, Violet. Okay, so let's get going here. Let's see here. I've already shared the first couple things. I shared my story, so they'll let me skip right to where I need to be here. Okay, so I want you to know that, I want you to first of all know why you're here. And I did cover that just a little bit, but I want you to feel free to hop off this webinar if what I'm about to teach you isn't for you. And this is how I'm going to model respect for your time and for my time. So if it isn't for you, I'm not going to feel bad because I want you to find the training that's going to be right for you, because I know I can't serve everyone, and that's marketing 101. You might want to write that down. You are not all things to all people. So I'm not going to try to be all things to you, and you shouldn't try to be all things to your people either. All right. That being said, if you want to double your current income by booking more discovery sessions and converting more of them into clients, then you're going to love this. Because in reality, I want you to think about it. If you just booked more discovery sessions and you enrolled more of them, meaning your closing ratio is higher, you will double your income. Like when you look at the numbers, it's that simple. It really is. Now, I know it's not as simple as the numbers, so that's why I'm going to teach you certain techniques today, but just, I want you to look at it on paper. If you do this, if you master this, you will double your income. It's a complete no-brainer. So if that's you and you're like, yes, then this is a good webinar for you. Also, you have to be totally committed to the persistence required to gain the authentic and effective sales skills that you need to reach your goals no matter what. So this is definitely a call for no matter what people. And I know that the people that are on this call, I know most of you personally. So I know that you wouldn't be here if you weren't like committed to the no matter what part. And I know some of you have taken trainings before and you keep learning. And to be honest, that's what I've done. You keep learning till you master it. You keep learning and then doing and learning and doing until you completely master it. And then you can move forward. So I commend you for taking another training for the umpteenth time to finally master something. And the learning curve is longer for some people than others. And I'm just going to say it, it's true. So it might take you longer than someone else, but if you keep going at it, then you'll get there. Nothing that I'm going to teach you is easy until you're good at it. I'm going to say that again. Nothing that I'm teaching you is easy. Okay. So there's a lot of success stories out there that you see on the internet or Facebook, and it's like, oh my God, I did this and I did that. And, I've had some success stories like that too. I've had some really, really big wins that are really exciting. But that didn't happen in the beginning. So some of you said you lost sound. If anyone else, well, if you can't hear me, then you can't hear me. If you can still hear me, let me know. I want to make sure it's not something on my end. This is Google Hangouts, so that's one of the glitches here. So the good news is a lot of the things I'm teaching, they are really easy after you've done them for a while. And you realize, wow, it wasn't as hard as I thought. And so some of these things you realize are ridiculously simple, and you're surprised that, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't implement that. Thank you, Rihanna. Awesome. I'm glad the sound is good. So if you guys have any issue with sound, it's potentially on your end. And if you guys all can't hear me, I'm sure you'll let me know. Thank you so much. If you are totally done with being broke or just not meeting your goals, or you're done with just working too hard for the hours that you're working, then this is definitely for you. I'm going to move on because I've got 10 reasons why this is for you, but I think I've really covered them. The last thing I'll just say that if you're really tired of the jitters and the fear and, oh my gosh, what if they don't enroll with me? And what if they think I'm greedy? What if they think I'm charging too much? I'm going to cover that. Thank you, Rima, for letting me know about the sound. Yeah, there's going to be some little glitches, and that's one of the downsides of, using this platform. But I think for the most part, it's going to be a really awesome platform. Okay, so I want you to know that what's really exciting about this, about sales, is that it is the skill that keeps on giving, right? It's like the gift that keeps on giving, because when you master it, it gives you the ability to enroll people, which is, I think enrollment is probably one of the most important abilities you can have in the world, aside from the ability to love, because that's really important. But the ability to enroll someone in your idea, in your program, in whatever it is. I mean, think about people like Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or anyone like that, Martin Luther King. They had the ability to enroll people into their ideas. So that's really what we're doing with sales. I love to use the word enroll. And coaching is the most organic form of sales there is. In fact, you're really not selling, you're enrolling someone into their own transformation. It doesn't matter if you do weight loss, or if you do career coaching or branding or business coaching or life coaching, a spiritual type of coaching, you are enrolling someone into their own transformation. So what's really cool about that is that you don't have to convince anyone of anything. You don't have to sell them anything. You're guiding them to an empowered decision to enroll them in their own transformation. If this is resonating with you and you're liking this, post in the chat box that you like it, you're resonating with it. So we're going to break this down today into 2 sections. By the way, I have no idea how long this webinar is going to be. I'm going to be totally upfront about that. I've got, 2 pages. Am I missing a page here? Oh, let's see. That's okay. I've got my notes on the computer as well, but I've actually got a couple pages here. So we'll probably go for an hour, but I'll be here, for questions. Okay, so we're breaking this down into 2 sections, okay? How to get discovery sessions booked, and then how to convert those discovery sessions into new enrollments and overcome the objections, okay? So I'm going to teach you ways that you can preeminently overcome the objections before you even encounter them, before they even come up. So let's talk about getting discovery sessions booked. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes online as well, since I'm not sure why my printer decided to print half my notes. Just a fun thing the universe wanted to send my way this morning. So let me just get myself oriented real quick here. Let's see, I got that. Okay, perfect. I know exactly where I'm at here. Okay. So much of what I'm teaching to you today does come from my sales program, which I'll share with you in a little bit. But the first thing is my compelling offer template. Okay, so you have to have a compelling offer. I'm going to breeze through it. I'm going to give you steps that you can implement immediately. So I'm not breezing over it. I'm definitely teaching you quality information you can apply right away. But with the time that we have, we'll say about an hour, I can't go super in depth and show you, screenshots and actual words and phrases. That's what I'm doing in the program. I'm showing you pictures and graphics and copy and things that you can actually model. But for now, I'm going to go through every step so that you can actually get started with it. Okay, so before we get into the steps of your offer, there's something that we have to cover, and that's your confidence. Okay, so if you don't believe your prices, nobody will. If you don't believe in the value of your program or your service, nobody will. And I mean like shoulders, back, head high, that kind of confidence. And that's not always created overnight, especially if you're new. Some of you are new, some of you aren't. If you are new to what you do, it can be a little bit more of a challenge to have that sense of, I am so good at what I do, I'm the best. Which oddly enough, and this is not a knock on men, but men in general are just more confident. And so they tend to start a business and say, yeah, I'm the bomb, I'm the best, even out of the gate. And I wish we as women could be a little bit more like that, but that's just not really in our nature typically, to have that level of confidence. So it's a process to get there. The more you work with clients, the more confident you'll be. The more case studies and success stories that you have, the more confident you'll be. However, a lot of us have started our business because we were able to transform something in our life. So if you have if you're selling a weight loss program and you have your own weight loss story, that right there makes you a credible expert. You've done it for yourself. You've done it for, someone, you've helped yourself. Maybe you've helped a couple other people. You've got to build on that. You've got to stand very firm in that. And, there's that saying, fake it till you make it. And a lot of people get turned off by that saying. And I really used it, when I was starting out in both my businesses, because I have another company I've had for 11 years that's also a service-based business. And it's not about being, it's like not the fraud complex thing, right? It's not like pretending you're something you're not. It's sometimes you have to put on the coat of confidence. Like you have to wear that coat. You might need to borrow some courage and confidence from someone else, someone that that's very confident, and kind of try that on, because I think that we have the ability to become more confident more quickly when we practice being confident. So if you don't already have a track record that speaks for itself, you are your own track record. So you've got to get really clear on what you've achieved for yourself and write it down. Or maybe you need to ask your friends or people around you, what's my genius? What am I really good at? And that's the thing that you're leading with that, whatever your program is, that it's like your secret sauce, that thing about you that makes you different. You can be confident in that because there's no one else like you on the planet. And there's something about you that makes you different than everyone. And it's a combination of things. But, this isn't a training on confidence, but I just want to say that confidence is really, really important to all of this being successful. It doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert and like super loud about your offer, but you do have to be really centered and confident within your offer. So if you agree with that, post in the chat box, like, yes, I totally agree. Or, if you feel like you need more confidence, I want to hear, in the chat box, like, tell me where you are on a scale of 1 to 10 with your confidence, because that will actually allow me to tailor my upcoming program a little bit more to include more about confidence. So step 1 on your offer, your compelling offer template. And this is where you're going to want to start taking more notes. If you're putting your offer out on Facebook and no one's taking you up on it, look, I've done it. I mean, we've all probably experienced putting out an offer and nobody, it's like you put the bait out, you're fishing, you put the bait out and nobody is like responding, right? So you're not alone if you felt that way. But doesn't it feel like really crappy to put out an offer for free and nobody wants it? Like, it can just drive you crazy. I want to tell you a story. There was this guy who reached out to me on Facebook like a week ago or something, and he was like, I don't know what he said as an introduction, but basically he said, I'd like to offer you something for free in exchange for a testimonial. And I think he was going to do some kind of website review or something like that. And I just said something kind of like, I don't know if I said I wasn't interested. I just said I wasn't interested. That was basically the gist of it. And he wrote me back and said something like, oh, what kind of coach are you? You call yourself a health coach, which you guys all know I'm not a health coach. But he said, oh my God, you call yourself a health coach? What kind of coach are you if you don't even want to accept my free help? And I was just totally blown away, right? I also, it looked like he was in a different country. It wasn't like the UK. It wasn't United States. So I don't know what his background was. I don't know. It was just ridiculous. But clearly he was frustrated that I didn't want his free stuff. And that's the thing, is like, free isn't always sexy, right? Like, we don't always want free stuff. By the way, I love that you're all responding. So one of you is saying, like, this is the second time I've been told about confidence today. So, the universe is speaking really loud to you on the confidence piece. Some of you are at like 7 or 8 and some of you are at 3 or 4. So, that's good. So someone's saying that their confidence kind of wanes in the face of a consultation. So tell me why you think that's happening so I can address that as we go along. So free isn't always sexy, right? Like, when you're in the mall and you're walking through and the ladies are like trying to spray perfume on you and hand you some perfume, but you're there to like buy a Christmas gift or a holiday gift or a birthday gift or something. Like, you don't want that perfume right now, unless you love like perfume samples and stuff. But you've probably had that experience where you're like walking through the mall and someone's trying to hand you something. It's like, you don't want that, right? So free isn't always valued. I mean, this is key here, okay? Your consultation or your discovery session, if you're not charging for it, and I'm not telling, that's not part of this training, whether you should charge for it or not. I don't charge for mine at this point in time. I know people that do, and there's like, it's a whole other training of why you should and why you shouldn't. It's a personal decision and it kind of depends on your business too. But we're talking about free consultation, free discovery session, free clarity call, whatever you call it. Free isn't always valued. So before you can enroll anyone in your program, you have to enroll them in the idea that your discovery session is like the hottest thing on earth and they should want it really bad, right? So here is, I'm getting to step one, by the way. This, if you're very like structured and you want to write it on your paper in like step one, this is what it is. I'm now going to tell you actually what it is. So step one, your offer has to solve a problem that's a big problem. Okay. It has to be a major life problem. Okay. Like a meaningful problem. And I'm going to explain further, but just if you want to write it down, it's got to solve a big and meaningful problem, because people are not going to pay premium prices, which is the only way to, I shouldn't say that. It's not the only way. If you're a one-to-one coach or consultant, charging well for your services is really the only way to get to your financial goal. Let's say your goal is like $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year, and you don't have other ways of bringing in income. Meaning, if you're a coach or a consultant, even even someone that does virtual assistants, if it's not a leveraged business model, right? The only time my business is leveraged in the coaching business is when I'm doing my group online trainings or like a workshop or a retreat or something, right? Then there's a lot of people at once, but your one-to-one services, it's not leveraged at all, not a leveraged business model. My other company is a tutoring franchise. I don't provide the service at all. The tutors do the service. It's very leveraged. I set out to replace my income in my coaching business. First year made $7,000, second year made $15,000, just struggled. And then the third year, I finally got there, and now I have replaced my income, and now I have a buyer for that company, and I'm trying to close that deal. But the point about it is, I used to be behind the scenes. You know, I would be on the phone and I did some consultations, but the tutors did all the work. It was way more leveraged. I had time to be with my son more. You know, so think about this, like, you know, now I've got a 2-year-old, my son's 17. I'm on the phone a lot, you know, it's not leveraged. It's not a leveraged business model to do the one-on-one service, which is why I have now my other services with the group online programs and things like that. But when you're starting out, you've got to have those private clients. That's your bread and butter. And you have to charge well, because how are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to be able to hold space for your clients if you can't afford to go get yourself a massage, which I know you desperately need, or whatever it may be that's your thing, so that you can continue to hold space for your clients. So I went off on a tangent, but it's really important. So here we go. People aren't going to pay premium prices for an annoying problem, a frustrating problem, a latent problem, something they love complaining about, right? Like, they're not going to pay premium prices. They have to have a problem that's like really keeping them stuck, and they've really had enough, and it's really like they're over it. They're ready to break through that problem. So, you know, I want to be really upfront. When you're selling something like, you know, making money, like, you know, I'll help you make more money in your coaching business. You can have a mediocre offer and probably get some people to book a consult with you. If you are a life coach or spiritual or something like that, even health coaches, you will probably have to work 10 times harder on your offer. Your offer is so much more important. And if this is resonating with you, or this is an aha, please post in the chat box, because a lot of coaches won't tell you that it's going to be a little harder for you. And I don't want to set anyone up for failure, or like have you set yourself up like it's going to be so hard. That's not really what I'm saying. It just means that your offer has to be that much more on point. So your discovery session offer, and your program offer for that matter, but we're talking about your discovery session offer, because you can't get anyone in your program if you can't get them on a discovery session, typically. They're probably not just going to your website in the middle of the night buying a $5,000 program. You know, you got to have some really compelling copy and some pent up demand. So Violet's asking me to repeat. Yeah, which part didn't you hear? I'm totally happy to repeat it. And some people might need to hear it again. Oh, Violet, I was saying anyone that's a coach that's not selling, like, I'll help you make more money. Because if you do branding, if you do social media, even if you do virtual assisting or business coaching, you can position it as, like if we work together, I'll help you make more money. They're going to see how like the investment with you, they're going to make more money. Okay. Even with like Rima that you do the productivity and time and stuff, you can relate that to a dollar amount. When you do something that's like spiritual, life coaching, health coaching, relationship coaching, you can't always relate it to money. There's definitely a return on investment, right? Like having a better marriage or losing 20 pounds. I mean, those are life-changing things that are there's a huge return on investment. What I'm saying is, a lot of business coaches aren't going to they're not going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it, is that I could go to a networking event and give a very mediocre offer for a consult. And I'm in a room of, let's say, coaches that are struggling. If I say, I'm going to help you make more money in your coaching business, you better believe they're all going to want a consult, right? It is easier for business coaches. And you see that online that, people are like, oh my God, I've got all these clients. That's what I'm trying to say here is if you're not someone that's directly helping someone make more money, your offer has to be that much more on point because it's not as clear. Not that it's not as clear. It needs to be clear. How to make more money, it's pretty hot. So anytime you can correlate what you do to that, you can, it is a little bit easier because a lot of people are motivated for money, right? But if that's not what you're selling, your offer really has to be on point. Okay. So Violet's saying, that yes, people invest in their business to make money. In return, they don't always get the importance of investing in their health and well-being. Exactly my point. So all the more reason that your offer for a discovery session has to be really compelling. And I'm going to go over, the elements of it, that I'm just kind of getting to the first step of it. So, when you make this discovery session offer, it can't be like, I'm going to offer you a free discovery session. Nobody cares about that. They don't want a free discovery session. What they want is the result. So you have to speak to what's that really juicy result that they want. Yeah. So someone said, I know I can help people make and save money with my services, but it's hard for me to quantify it. I know we've talked about this before, and I think this is maybe what I said before because it's coming up again. Make your clients quantify it, Nicole, meaning take them through the process with the Soulful Sales script, if you still have that, to find out what's it costing them to have those issues, those time sucking issues, because you're helping people with their time. Also their productivity is coming into play. Walk them through a process of quantifying what it's really costing them. Okay. And that's one of the elements of my script. And there's other coaches that kind of teach something similar, but it's really about like uncovering the cost. But I'm digressing a little bit. So I love the comments. This is really, really good. And I promise I'll get to all them. So now we've established that your offer has to be really clear. Okay. Now you're probably like, but what should my offer be? Like, and I can't go into that with every single person. I mean, that's something that's like, that's why it's good when you're in a group, like the program that I'm offering, or if you're in other groups, to like get the feedback. Okay. Like you really have to test and tweak your offer over and over till you get it right. But keep in mind, it's gotta be that thing that's really painful. So it may not be enough to say, lose weight, lose 20 pounds, or, gain a day back in your life. That sounds good. Those marketing messages are kind of overplayed right now. So like we've been hearing that for years, right? Like lose weight, improve your relationship. They're not juicy enough. They're not really getting to that thing that's going to drive someone to be like, oh my God, I have to talk to Rima, or, oh my gosh, I have to talk to Nicole or Violet, like it's got to be that the words that you say have to just be really compelling. And I'm trying to think of an example here. As we go along, I'll think of some examples. Now, I don't want anyone to freak out and think they have to change their niche or like go into an identity crisis all of a sudden. It's just that the way you're making your discovery session offer or your consultation offer, the way it's being presented probably needs to change. Meaning it's not that you're changing your niche or changing even what the discovery session's about. It's the way you're saying it that has to change. So people are paying for results and oftentimes experiences. And coaching is at an all-time high. Coaching, consulting, all that stuff. I'm going to lump it into one category right now. But it's at an all-time high because intimacy is a top trend right now. And that's why the live stream platforms like Blab and Periscope, and there was Meerkat, which I've never been on Meerkat. Those are doing really, really well because people are craving a high level of intimacy, high level of touch. There's so much out there. You know, you go on Facebook or wherever you go and you're just inundated. I was Googling something last night, and then suddenly that the ad of the thing I was looking at was following me everywhere. It was following me on Facebook. It was following me everywhere, everything I Googled. So, you know, we're getting inundated with the messages. And so people want to connect with their guru, you know, the person, the coach, or whoever it is. They want to know more about who they are, their mission, the real person. So what we need to really do here is we need to touch their soul. Okay. So when you show that you truly understand someone, like when you're asking the right questions or you're saying the things that they're thinking in their head that they don't want anyone to know that they're thinking, when you're saying those things through your discovery session offer, it builds instant trust and credibility. And this can come also from sharing your own story, maybe in, you know, one or two sentences, but also in showing that you understand their story, because it's all about what's in it for me. If I see your post on Facebook, and which I see tons every day, and it's just like, you know, it's just sounding like everyone else. But if I see that you really get me and I'm feeling that pain of that problem right now, and you use the very words that I am thinking in my head and feeling in my heart, that's going to speak to me. So just to recap here, step one, you have to solve a big problem, a meaningful problem that is causing the client's pain. I want you to think about something. I'm going to give you an example. What made you get on this webinar today? I want you to really think about that. What made you take your time and get on the webinar? Okay. So it's painful to not have enough money. It's painful to not have enough time for all the, to not have the money that correlates to all the time you're spending. It's painful to not succeed in your business. It makes you feel like a failure, like, you know, you're embarrassed, and it's painful to hear no over and over. And it's painful to have your marketing messages ignored. And I know that pain. I've been through that pain. And sometimes I go through that pain when I'm doing a new marketing campaign, because you got to go back to the drawing board. You know, that's why it's so good to be in a group where you can get feedback, right? Where someone like a coach or someone can say, like, here's how you need to tweak it. A lot of times we're in our heads, you know, like I check my headlines and my taglines, and I'm usually on point, but sometimes I need to get feedback, right? If my campaign isn't converting or something. Just because the idea that I came up with in my brain at 2 a.m. seems really brilliant to me, it may not be a hot headline. It may not be something that my clients get. So once you've touched their soul, you've got their attention, okay? They're listening, they're reading your offer. But now it's like you're asking them to give their time. They're risking being pitched to or feeling pressured, whatever it is that they're fearing. Like, why aren't they signing up for your discovery session, you know, offer? Like, why aren't they signing up for it? Well, first, it could be that they've just ran away before it even, it just didn't even catch them from the beginning. So now they're gone. But for those who you've caught their attention, what's going from you've caught their attention to they're clicking away and they're not opting in for a discovery session? So you've touched their soul, they're listening. I've used this strategy about a week ago or so. I think maybe some of the people on this call were from there, but within the first No, that's not the example. I was going to share an example of booking discovery sessions through Facebook, but I think I'm going to share that later. When I started, I would go to networking events and I would say my, 30-second elevator pitch. And I decided to make an offer for a discovery session. Like that was my 30-second speech. My pitch was a discovery session, which most people don't do. They just say like, my name is so-and-so and I help people do blah, blah. They don't usually say, and what I'm offering is a free discovery session. Well, I did that. And the first few times it was like crickets, right? I remember one time though, like one of the first times it happened, someone opted in for the discovery session. And it was like 20 people in the room. I made my offer. I passed it around the whole room, which I felt really kind of like, oh my God, I'm just totally like selling myself. And I'm sending this piece of paper around for people to sign up for a discovery session. One person, she booked it and I enrolled her. But I still struggled after that for the next like 2 years after that. And until I really honed my message and what my hook was or is. And now, flash forward a couple years after that, I remember going to a networking event and giving my 30-second commercial and I don't even think I made an offer for a discovery session. I just said what I do. And someone came up to, it was like maybe 10 people in the room. Someone came up to me immediately and was like, I need to talk to you. And that's what happens to me all the time now, because my hook, which is something maybe all of you are interested in, is the permission to charge thing, charging your worth. It's a hot hook. People have that problem. They have that pain. And then of course I describe it in a way that, really grabs their attention. And so it's possible when you tweak and look, this took me like a few years. I'm trying to speed up the learning curve for all of you guys, so it doesn't take so long. But it's like getting it to the point where it can grab someone's attention, that they're like, I need to talk to you. I need to get on a consultation with you. So for example, this whole thing about not knowing how to price and structure services, that's the hook that people at a networking event are coming up to me about. Now I do more than that. Obviously I teach sales because I'm teaching that right now, but I don't lead with that typically. I lead with the permission to charge. And then as I bring people into my body of work, they realize, wow, I can charge my worth, but if I can't sell, it doesn't matter. So then they're going to learn that from me as well. But see, I know how frustrating it is for a new business owner to not know how to price and structure their services. They agonize over it. What do your clients agonize over? What are they agonizing over? What are they in such a state of fear and drama and feeling stuck that they're like, oh my God, I have to talk to you? What do they feel that they can't move they feel like they can't move forward until they figure out X? That's what's getting people to talk to me. So what's going to get people to talk to you? What do they feel like they just can't move forward until they figure out X? Or till they solve X, they just can never get to where they want to go. So I've easily got their attention. That's my hook. Okay. Now I'm going to move to here we go. Okay. So what big issue are you speaking about that gets their attention? And what are you offering them that sounds so juicy that they can't deny it? And by the way, if anyone wants to throw out, what their offer is, I can give you some feedback on it. I probably can't do it for every single person on the call, but just because I'm not even, I'm maybe a third way through the content. So I'm going to keep it moving here. Step 3, when you're making this offer, okay? And by the way, I made an offer in a couple of Facebook groups about a week or so ago, and within 30 minutes, I had 2 discovery sessions booked on my calendar. That does not always happen, okay? I don't want you all to think it like it's magic, and every time you post, you're always going to get discovery sessions. There's at least 10 ways that I get discovery sessions, and I don't have them all written in front of me, but I'm going to just run through a few of them real quick. Facebook posts, webinars, public speaking, commenting on other blog posts, believe it or not, writing my own blog posts, and there was something else I was going to say. It'll come back to me, but those are at least 5 I can think of right off the top of my head of where I've gotten discovery sessions from. So there's really a lot of ways that you can do it. But when whether you're speaking it or writing it, tell your story. And it can be in just like 1 or 2 sentences. That sentence, though, it has to have a before and after element. So it could say, I think in the post that I did a week or so ago, it said, it told a couple sentences about, I used to, really struggle with my discovery sessions. I got so tired of people telling me that I was awesome, but they weren't enrolling. It's like, I don't want to be awesome. I want to have clients and actually do my work. I want to coach people. I don't want to just be awesome for giving free advice. So if you're feeling that way, then keep listening, because that's what we're going to overcome here. But you've got to tell just a snippet of your story. Now, in various formats, you might go longer. Like I could have gone longer today on my story and given all the juicy, gory details, but I didn't. I want to just get straight to the content. But a lot of times I will share my story a little bit more, and that is an extremely helpful strategy. So that's step 3. I'm not going to go into it very much in depth. You kind of get it, right? You're telling your story. The most important thing is it has to have a before and after element. Okay. Now, if you don't want to share your own story, or you don't have that story that relates to what you do, use another client story. Let me tell you about my client, Sally. This is what happened for Sally. Okay. So step 4 of your offer, your core offer template, is you need to bullet point what's in it for them. And this is not new for some of you, coaches, consultants, service providers. They do this all the time. I'm offering a free discovery session. And in this free discovery session, we will, bullet point 1, uncover the thing that's stopping you from X, having a great relationship, losing weight, building your business, whatever. And then we're going to map out a plan for, how you're going to get there. At this point in time, and I'm having to revamp my own stuff online too. That is not compelling because everyone's saying it and doing it. So it can't always be that your bullet points are like, get clarity on the number 1 challenge you're having. That's not really working anymore if you haven't noticed. So I'm going to use an example of like a career coach. Okay. If you're a career coach, your bullet point might say, or one of your bullet points might say, in this call, we're going to pinpoint your exact dream position at your exact dream company and map out the plan that will have you clearing out your cubicle and moving into your new corner office with a view in 90 days or less or something. So when you're making these bullet points, add a little flair, add a little interest to, like I tried to make it funny, right? It's going to have you clearing out your cubicle. It's not really funny, but it's clever. Clearing out your cubicle and moving into your corner office in 90 days or less, if you can make that claim. But if you're a health coach, it could be like, we'll pinpoint exactly what's been the emotional reason that's been stopping you from releasing weight, so that you can be showing up to events with confidence instead of, telling your friends you're busy, because the truth is you don't want to be seen. You don't want anyone to see how much weight you've gained, or you don't want people to see your muffin top that hangs over your skinny jeans, or, something like that. It's like you're getting more graphic and detailed with it. That's going to make it stand out a little bit more. And they're going to be like, oh my God, she totally knows what I'm like feeling. And she knows that I don't want to go to these events with my friends because I don't feel good about the way I look. And I go to my closet and I don't feel like there's anything I can wear. And obviously I've been through that. So you want to be able to really explain in detail what they're thinking and feeling. So each bullet point, you want to write this down, each bullet point has to speak to their pain and their secret desires. So for example, not all desires are what is the word? Not all of our desires are, I cannot think of the word. I'll just give you the opposite. Some of the desires are superficial that we have. So your bullet point can say, So finally, so you can wear that bikini and have all your friends wondering in their heads, how does she look that good? Now, some people don't want to admit that they're thinking that. And this is an example for weight loss. This is for Violet, a weight loss or health coach. Some people don't want to admit that they're thinking that, but they are thinking that. Not everyone's thinking that, but some of your bullet points can speak to their secret thoughts and desires, things that aren't necessarily the most, I'm just so at a loss for words for that word I'm trying to think of, but they're just not the most highest, values. But sometimes, that's how we feel. So you got to call those out. And when people read that, that's going to attract someone that's feeling that way. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, she knows what I'm thinking and feeling. So I'm going to go check the chat box really quick because I've, okay, good. I don't see any questions, a lot of awesome comments. So if you are resonating with this, say yes, I'm loving it. It's totally resonating. If there's any part that I've shared in the offer template that's like just hitting home for you, definitely tell me what your aha is. I'm going to go into step 5. This is the sense of urgency. Okay. By the way, this offer template, I go very much in depth in the program that I'm going to talk about on each of these things, because I can tell you all this, and I know I'm giving you guys great ideas and everything, but I'm going to share with you samples, of other coaches, things that are converting, and I'm going to show you what's converting about it or what's not converting, what works, what doesn't. So that's just so you know, like there's a lot to each of these steps, but hopefully this will get you going in the right direction. Step 5 is a sense of urgency. Okay. Some of you have heard this before. Some of you have never really thought about it this way and applied it to your own business. But what happens when someone gives you a today only offer? Like when someone gives you a reason to act now, like you're at the Nordstrom's annual sale and you're like, oh my God, these shoes that I want are on sale today and today only. It's going to push you over the edge to buy it. And I mean, you could look at it as a manipulation. Some of the things I'm going to share, some of you are just going to be like, nope, not comfortable with that. Don't want to do that. So this is all about being authentic and true to yourself. I personally don't have a problem with a lot of sales strategies and tactics if the person behind them has a good intention and has the other person's best interest at heart. Okay. And I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that because I think that's going to come up when we talk about the objections that people have to buying. But you have to give them a reason to act now. Okay. And you don't have to lie or make it up, right? But the thing about it is, why should they lose weight now? Why should they switch careers now? Why should they hire a VA now and instead of waiting? Why should they build a brand now? Why should they build their sales skills now? Why should they get healthy now? The question is, what's going to happen if they don't? What is the cause and effect? You might share a statistic. The average woman gains 10 pounds a year every year after the age of 40. There's some statistic out there like that, which is just like frightening. But there's some real data around that, and you might share that. You might say in your PS line of your offer, you have a little paragraph of what you're offering, and then there's a PS. The average woman, gains 10 pounds and is never able to get it off after that. Is that where you're headed? Or, you can be a little bit more forthright at this point, especially in your PS line of this offer. But and if you're verbally saying it, you're not going to say like PS. You're just going to say it. But if you're writing an email or you're writing a Facebook post and you're making an offer for discovery sessions or consultations, you'll probably do a PS line because people always read the PS line. Okay, so where am I here? You want to remind them of the cause and effect and weave in it's a reason for them to act now, like what's going to happen if they don't. But it's also a reason why from your end, like, well, I'm only offering this discovery session until Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And when they're gone, they're gone. Now, that doesn't mean you can never make another offer. What I think is working better is offers that have that sense of urgency and have a limited supply, which I'm going to go into next, versus making an offer for a discovery session on your email like every single time. And I do make them quite often, but whenever I put a boundary around it of time, limited supply, give it a real good, compelling name. For example, I've been doing discovery session audits. That's not the normal name of my consultation, but since I am enrolling people into the sales program and I only have 11 spots left, I've been offering discovery session consults because I want to help people analyze what's going wrong with their discovery sessions and determine if my program might be a great fit for them. Okay. So, I'm getting off track a little bit here, but whenever I make offers that have that structure around it, which is what the core offer template is all about. Okay. I am seeing more people take action versus just making your discovery sessions all day long, 24/7. It kind of makes it seem like you're just open for free, like advice. You know, it's like if you've ever watched Charlie Brown? And the girl with what's her name, where she puts out that little store and it's like free advice, 5 cents or something. And she's just like sitting there all day long. You don't want to be that person. Your time is valuable. And I don't care if you have more time on your hands than you want because you don't have a lot of clients right now. That doesn't mean that your time isn't valuable or that you should give it all away for free. It's like your expertise and the program you have painstakingly created has a lot of value, and they don't just get the whole kitchen sink for nothing. Okay. So, sense of urgency, meaning it's a time limited offer. Now, next week you can go make another time limited offer. That's fine. I mean, Nordstrom, all kinds of companies make time limited offers all the time, you know, the sales and things like that. Or when you buy, like Macy's, you know, when you buy $100 worth of makeup, you're also going to get the free special gift where you get all these other little goodies, but it's only until September 31st, right? You see it all the time. Why? Because we're combating human nature. We procrastinate. We don't take action on the things that are killing us. I don't know why. Why are we like that, right? You know, we don't change until changing is easier than staying the way we are. When our back, and this is unfortunate, but when our back is up against a wall, and it's like we just can no longer stand to stay in the situation we're in, having the weight on, being in a bad relationship, suffering in our business. We don't change until that change sounds like such an easier, better option than staying where we are. Okay. And that's what we're combating, people's comfort. Okay. Step 6 in the core offer template, a low supply. Okay. Supply and demand. If you have a bajillion discovery sessions that you're offering, it doesn't sound that appealing. You don't sound like you're that much in demand. So again, you're putting a boundary on your time. If you don't value your time, nobody else will. So just because you don't have a million clients keeping you busy all the time, like I've got a lot of clients and I'm always on the phone and I'm quite busy. So when I say that I only have a few, I really only have a few. You know, I mean, I open up a lot of spots on my calendar, but those spots are also for clients to take too. So if I really can only I usually do several discovery sessions per week. But I mean, I can't really do much more than that. So if you're setting it up and you don't have a lot of clients, create the structure for yourself. How many people are you going to talk to for free? And then you can, I'll go into the next step, which is qualifying them. But on step 6, it's low supply. Maybe you have 3 or 5 that you offer for this week. Let them know, like, look, for this week only, I only have 1 spot. Or for this month, I only have 5. If you choose to do more than that, you can. You're not like a horrible liar if you end up doing more. But it's putting a boundary on your time. So I'm going to just go check to see if we have questions. People are saying Lucy, and I don't know why they're saying Lucy. Okay. What is Lucy? I like the limited supply idea. I can only do so many. Absolutely. It's totally true that you can only do so many. Look, you have a life, you've got maybe kids and a spouse and this and that and other things going on. How many free consults can you really do? Right. I'm so curious why people are posting the name Lucy. So do we have a Lucy on our call? And Nicole, if you want to expand on what you're saying about selfish values, I'd love to expand on that as well, but I don't know totally what you mean. So it sounds interesting. Okay. Step 7 is to qualify people. So you're going to say if you're at a speaking gig, or if you are, even if you're doing a Facebook post or LinkedIn or a video that you're going to post on YouTube or something, or you're doing a scope, or a blab, live streaming. This is only for people who, you may have seen people do this. You may have done it yourself. I want you to get even more in your power about this, because the more I do this work, the more I'm getting in my own power about this, about who I really want to do a discovery session with or a consult with. Like, you don't want people that are not action takers. You might say, this is for action takers. This is for someone who's done being overweight and they don't want to live that way anymore. That's who this consult's for. And they're ready to take action once they see a clear path to their goal. That means, yes, you're giving something for free. You're giving a consult, but you only want to give it to people who, if they saw the clear path, would actually take action, which is why at the beginning of this webinar, I said, you can feel free to go if you're not just so done with your lack of lead generation and your lack of closing skills, because that's who I only want people to listen to the webinar who, it doesn't mean you have to sign up for my course, but it's like, I really want to give this information to people who are really serious and like, they're like a dog on a bone when it comes to mastering their discovery sessions. They're like a dog on a bone when it comes to generating leads, and they're willing to implement everything that I say. They're willing to even take a course that is going to put them in a structure where it's going to motivate them and teach them what to do. And it's going to put them in a situation of like, I will do this. I will master this skill of lead generation, and I will master the skill of converting consultations. And I am like so committed to that. That's who I want to share this webinar with, right? Because it's my time and it's all of your time. And if we're not going to take action and move forward, even if you go and do one thing, I'm happy. But I'm even more excited for those who are like action takers and are like, okay, I'm going to put my feet to the fire and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself in a situation where I have to succeed. So you want to do that when you are making your offer for a discovery session. Feel free to call out who this is for and who it's not for. You can say I'm giving you permission to be a little bit more bold, because I haven't always been as bold or confident, and especially not as forthright. I mean, I'm the girl that like when my husband and I first started dating and we almost weren't together, because it's like, well, what do you want for dinner? Well, what restaurant do you want to go to? Well, what movie do you want to listen to? What movie do you want to watch? It's like, you got to say what you want. You know, you got to say who you're willing to talk to. And, you know, it didn't go well when I was acting that way at all. I'm way more bitchy and it's going way better. So you have to say what you want. You have to put it out there, like who you're looking for, what you will and won't accept. I think in some of my copy somewhere it says like, it's not for what did I say that at the beginning of this call? Yeah, this is one of the tips I gave. You can say like, this is not for people who love complaining about how they're stuck with XYZ problem. That's not for you. You know, if you like complaining about how hard it is to get discovery sessions or how hard it is to lose weight or whatever, this maybe is not for you. Whatever I'm using a health coach example quite a bit here, but if you love complaining about your job and how it's not paying you enough and you hate your boss, then maybe career coach isn't for you if you're getting a lot out of complaining. Like that's kind of your thing. Okay, I'm going to check for questions. Awesome, Emma. Thanks so much. Okay, Lucy gave advice. Oh, Lucy. Oh my gosh. Did I have a blonde moment? Okay, yes, Lucy. Thank you. It's totally clicking for me. It's Lucy. Okay. I just want to check the other questions. Yeah, I love that little picture of Lucy, and it's like she's got this thing that says 5 cents. I feel really silly now. Moving along. Okay, so yeah, we don't want to be like Lucy giving free advice just all day, every day. What else did I want to share with you? We're going to go into objections. Okay. So those are the seven steps for your offer. I just want to reiterate the pre-step to all of this, which was confidence. You have to believe that you're the best. So that's why, like, I'm asking my clients to read their money mindset books daily. It's in their welcome packet, like read daily. So focusing on reading things and being around people that are going to boost your confidence is something that you have to make a priority. All right, so I'm going to go into objections. I want to hear what are your objections what are the kind of objections that you're getting so that I can weave that in here. And I'm going to, let's see, and I don't know if you guys can see. Renee, can you let me know if you can see the logo for the Money Conversations Made Easy program? If you can see that on the screen, because I'm going to take, I'm going to time myself here too. I'm going to take about 5 minutes to talk about it. And then you guys, you get to make your own decision. But Renee, if you can pop on and tell me if you're able to see there's a graphic for the Money Conversations Made Easy program. So I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you what it is. Then you can decide if that's what you need. And then I'm going to cover the objections and ways that you can overcome the objections. So this program, Money Conversations Made Easy, what we're doing, you can see it. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. You're so helpful. This program, if you want to see what I'm talking about, go to moneyconversationsmadeeasy.com. And if you want to see a very beautiful landing page, go to moneyconversationsmadeeasy.com. Because I'm really happy with what my designer, well, she's my VA. She's not even a designer. So she was really impressed what she did. It's gorgeous. The key things that you need to know about this, I'm not going to go over every module. You can read my story. You can read all the modules. What's really important for you to know that's going to be focused on in the course is the top 10 or so. I mean, there's more than 10 ways, but the top highest converting ways of booking discovery sessions. And what I'm excited about is that, and I've been doing this with my 9-month clients, so I have a lot of the content, it's all ready to go. I'm going to show you actual samples of speeches that got me discovery sessions or that my clients have got discovery sessions. I'm going to show you graphics of like what people post and what pictures they use and what words they say to get discovery sessions. Things that I've done on say like a webinar, what the strategy I've used for that. So I'm really excited to give you like actual examples that you can just not copy, but model. So that's one of the things that's really different. A lot of sales programs are going to teach you sales, but not necessarily how you're going to book your discovery sessions. So that is something I'm really excited to be able to bring just a large amount of example after example, and we'll critique them and I'll show you why this one works, why it doesn't, and you'll get to show your own examples. And here's the thing is we just keep tweaking them until they work. And I know that's not what you want to hear. You just want to like have it work right out of the gate. But again, it's a little easier for business coaches. If you're doing something that doesn't have that exact, like I'm going to teach you to make money, you just have to work on your offer that much harder. It's got to be tested and tweaked a little bit longer. And also your branding comes into play. But it just has to, you just have to finesse it until you get there. So I'm going to show you examples, not just from business coaches, not just my own examples, because it's fine and dandy for me to say, I've booked all these discovery sessions. But, I want you to see coaches that are maybe in your field, like health coaching or relationship coaching or, a variety of different niches, and examples of how they've done it. What did they say? What did they do? And then for those of you that already took the Instant Pay Raise program and you've revamped your programs and your packaging and you're like, all ready to go sell those high-end programs, or maybe you've already sold some of them, you got an intro to soulful sales, the soulful sales method, you got the script, but we didn't have time in that program to go to dissect a discovery session. So what I'm doing is dissecting each step. Like, okay, so how do you start a discovery session? Let's dissect that. How do you uncover the cost, which is really the crux of it all? What is the problem that they have? What's it costing them? And I'm going to go into that in a minute. So what's different, for people that are wondering, because I know there's people that already took the other program, it's kind of like what you got already on steroids, okay? Because I'm going to break down and dissect every element of the soulful sales script. And I'm going to go in detail about objections, and you're going to be able to come to the calls and say, well, I had a consult and this person said that, and then I said this, and I'll tell you, well, here's how you approach it. Here's what you want to say next time. And that's what my private clients are getting, the ability to consult with me on every consult that they do or discovery session so that they can tweak it real time. And they can go back. Well, it's not totally real time because I'd have to be like in your ear, like on earbuds during a discovery session. But meaning your learning curve can be a lot shorter because you can come to me and I can say like, approach it this way. Then the next time you do one, you fix that problem. So the point of this is we want to fail forward a lot quicker than we currently are, because you will fail forward on this. Trust me, you're not going to go be a rock star salesperson immediately. Now, I have tons of clients that are like, oh my God, I used the soulful sales script and it worked. But that doesn't mean they're all of a sudden perfect at it, right? You're still getting better and better and better. I'm still getting better. So what I want to share with you is when you go to moneyconversationsmadeeasy.com, that is where you enroll. The first 5 people that enroll are going to get a session with me, which is your discovery. I'm botching this. That session, we're going to do your core offer template together. So what I'm going to help you do is map out what you really need to say to get people to book a discovery session with you. For those of you that are getting discovery sessions booked, but you want to convert more of them, like you should be converting 70 to 80%. That's your goal. If you're converting 100%, you're probably not on this call. If you are, you need to raise your rates. Okay, if everyone's saying yes, even if you're converting 80%, you can go ahead and raise your rates now. But mainly, you're probably going to need my help with getting the core offer done correctly so that you can get more discovery sessions in. For those of you that feel like you've got that handled, at least to some extent, you can use your session with me on really tweaking your consultation so that you can get more, so that you can convert more. So the way I've set it up is we're going to cover your core offer template, and that's what most of you are going to need. And then if for others that might need something else, you can just say, look, I'd rather use the time doing something else, and that's fine. But I think for most of you, you're going to want my help with the core offer template. So the first 5 people that enroll, we have 11 spots left. The kickoff call is next week. We are not teaching anything on the kickoff call. So technically we don't start for 2 weeks. Okay. Go to the page, read everything about it. You should get most of your questions answered there. If they're not all answered, you can go to permissiontocharge.com and get on my calendar, and we'll talk if the program's right for you. So let's jump back into objections. Meanwhile, hopefully you were posting to me what objections that you're getting. So if you haven't been posting, please post in the chat box what kind of objections you've been getting, so I can teach you what you want to say differently. And oops. Okay. And for those of you, like I said, who want that session to help, you want someone to help you figure out what your core offer is or how to kind of finesse it and tweak it. The price of the program, $297 and then $297 30 days later, or if you want to save $100 and pay $497, that is a lot cheaper than how expensive this problem is for you. Because if your program is $2,000, let's say, and you could just sell like 2 or 3 of those per month more than you are, that is so much more, that's just smarter, right? Then it's smarter to invest in getting the skills than to keep leaving, $6,000 on the table every month or whatever your number is. So I want you to consider that when you're looking at the program, like, what is it really costing me? Which is a perfect segue to handling objections. So, because when you're doing your discovery session, or your consultation, by the way, I use those interchangeably. So just know that I'm talking about the same thing. Getting to the cost of their problem, it could be an emotional cost, it could be a financial cost, it could be a mental, spiritual cost. That is the crux of the Soulful Sales script that you get in the sales program. So that part is really, really important. I want to talk about, I'm just kind of getting to my notes here so I make sure I explain this very, very clearly. So how do I convert 8 out of 10 consults? First of all, I wasn't born that way. I'm not like a born salesperson. I did have lots of lemonade stands, and I did sell Girl Scout cookies, and I was the top seller. But that was maybe just because I was cute. I don't know. Actually, the reason why I was a top cookie seller was lead generation. I had my mom with me out there in the rain every single weekend in front of, Safeway or QFC or, the grocery stores that we have around here, selling those cookies. So I didn't really have sales skills. I just had a smile, and I was there. I was there with a box of cookies for people that can't resist a cute girl with cookies, right? Who are just leaving the grocery store. So I nailed that, right? Even if you're a bad salesperson, if you've got lead generation, you're going to make some sales. Okay. And you've got a good, you got great cookies, right? So your program or your service, that's your cookies. But no, I wasn't born good at sales. I think I was born with some kind of drive to reach my goals, but definitely not good at sales. So here's how I've done it over the years. One tip I want to give you is before you do a discovery session, you have to pre-qualify people, right? Now, we've already talked about that, and some of that gets handled in your core offer template, like that offer that you make for a consultation. You're weeding out certain people just by saying, this is for people who, okay? And being, if you're already doing that and you're like, well, I'm already doing that, this isn't new. What I would say to you is be more bold and confident in that, okay? Say it louder. I mean, it doesn't have to be louder, but say it prouder, say it bolder, have more conviction when you say that, and put more of the energy, being more in alignment with that. I think that will actually help, because I've become more and more forthright and kind of bold about that. And that's taken me a while to get there, because I don't want to turn people off. I don't want to be that sleazy salesperson. And by the way, I mean, I've made tons of sales and marketing mistakes. I've come across the wrong way, and it's embarrassing. Oh my gosh, that person thought I was totally salesy. But there's really, again, it's failing forward. How are you going to get there if you don't try, So I'm not perfect with my marketing either, but it's working for me, and I'm continuing to improve it so that so it's authentic to me. And but it's not going to please everyone. It's not going to make everyone happy. Some people aren't going to like that you're promoting yourself, and that's just part of it. So you've taken care of some of it from saying who this consult's for, but then you can further pre-qualify people by having them answer some questions. Some of you already know this. Send them to a page on your website where they have to answer questions. Send them an email and ask them to ask questions. A lot of ways to go about it. The caveat to this, is what are your goals? If you want to practice your sales skills and you would just like to do have as many sales as possible, you can be a little more lax about who you allow to do a consult with, but only give yourself a time limit on that. I'll take the first 10 people and then I'm going to upgrade my boundaries or my stipulations. And the reason why I would only suggest that for some people is because if you're not getting any discovery sessions, I don't necessarily want you to limit. I don't want you to cut too many people off. I do want you to have a specialized niche, but I don't necessarily want you to cut everyone off, because I want you on the phone with people. I want you having discovery sessions. Then after you've done let's say 10 in a short period of time, you're wiser now. You're kind of, okay, these people are wasting my time. Then you can get a little more bold. You have some more confidence. You've also made the mistakes on the people that aren't going to hire you anyway. And it kind of starts to put you in more of a authority position where you're like, look, I'm not playing around anymore. I'm only going to talk to people that are serious. And, sometimes you have to talk to a few people that aren't serious to strengthen your conviction of wanting to only talk to people that are serious. I hope this is making sense, because this is what I went through. I just don't want you to go through it for 3 years. I want you to go through it in maybe a month or something. So depending on your goals, right now, I will do a consult with most people only because of what my current goal is. When I'm busier I am busy, but when I'm not doing, for example, if I'm doing a launch for something, I'm a little bit more willing to talk to more people because I want to fill the program with awesome people, so I'm a little bit more willing to talk to more people. If I only have 2 or 3 spots for private coaching available, I'm not willing to talk to 10 or 10 different people about it. I'm going to put them through a little bit of a screening process and ask them some follow-up questions. Even if they've already filled out one of my questionnaires, I might ask them some additional questions and then kind of weed out or prioritize who I want to talk to first. So then at this point you have a lot of leads coming in and you're handpicking your clients, which is always nice. Okay, so you're doing that before the consult. All of these things I'm telling you can ensure the success of people saying yes. Okay. You're also going to send them social proof, case studies. That's something I'm going into in depth on the program as well. In the program, I will share with you more in detail of the kind of things you would want to send depending on your industry. So give you some more examples. But case studies are brilliant. And if you've done a consult with me, you know that I sent you some testimonials and case studies. At the beginning of a consult, you can preemptively address objections. I'm going to check the chat box and just see. I know we're going really long and some of you have other things to do, but if you want to overcome objections, you can stick with me. People say they have too much they need help with and they can't hire anyone yet. Well, that's a lot of crap. We're going to handle that one, Renee, for you. Clients say, I'm not sure this will help me. Clients say it's too expensive. Okay. Yeah, I can handle all of those. So let's just kind of go on to where we are right now, and I'm going to get to those in just a sec. To avoid the looky-loos, there's people that just love to sign up for free discovery sessions, okay? They want to see what's out there. What does this person do? They want to shop. They want to like window shop with discovery sessions, which I absolutely can't stand. I don't like that. I would rather, and this happens most of the time nowadays. Occasionally there's a certain personality type where it's like, well, I'm going to interview other people, and that's fine. Like that's someone's buying type where they're going to interview other people, and they might not know me, that's understandable, which is why I want them to get to know me before the consult. So I want to share my story and my case studies and whatever I can share. Not inundate them, not too much, not make them feel like they have to do 2 hours of homework, but just the right amount that I can share that has them already wanting to say yes, or already thinking like, oh my God, Lorna is so cool. I love Lorna. I want to work with her. Like we want them to feel that way. When you get on the call, you can say, hey, so-and-so, I'm really excited to talk to you. I understand you're interested in my XYZ program. Now, hopefully before you talk to them, you've asked them, maybe you've asked them what program they're interested in, and I don't always do that every single time, but my business is in a different place. If you're below 10 grand a month or so, you probably want to find out. And also if you have a ton of programs, the problem with it is when you have a lot of programs like I do, you inundate people with too many options. So a confused mind will buy nothing, right? They're not going to buy anything. And I don't know who originally said that quote, but it's like so powerful. It's such a good reminder to me. So I do my consults by really finding out what their goals are and offering them what I think is really going to help them reach their goal. But if you've got like 1 or 2 programs or one signature program, they're probably coming into you already knowing something about that program, possibly. So you can say, I understand you're interested in working with me privately. If they say, well, no, I don't, I was just, wanted to get information, then you can let them know, like, well, tell them the purpose of the call. The purpose of the call is to find out if we're a fit to work together privately. If you're just wanting to kind of, and I think you want to be careful with that, because you can offend, well, if someone's really easily offended, maybe it's, you don't want to work with them, but like try to be sensitive to people's styles. You can say it in a nice way, like, this is really what this is geared for. I want to honor your time and I want to honor my time. And I really make these consultations available for people who have gotten to a point where, they've checked me out and they're, they really would like to work with, they'd like to explore working with me privately. And, if you haven't, kind of checked out what I do enough, what I'd love to do is have you, go to this page and then let's, I'll send you my link again. Let's schedule again after you've gone through that material. And that way, you'll have a better understanding if you want private coaching with me. And so that's another way to weed things out. Okay. You could send them to your about page. It doesn't even necessarily have to be your program page, because you may have more than one program and you don't know what you're going to offer them. It's not cookie cutter. That's why it's called a consult. Okay. If it's just generic, they can go look at your online programs and buy whatever program they want. They can just click the button and enroll, right? They can go to moneyconversations.com and they can just enroll, like, oh my gosh, I need this, and they enroll. But if it's a private coaching, they need a consult, and that's custom. Okay, so we're going to handle the objections. I think what I want to do is handle objections that are on the call in that order, because I want to deliver this to those of you that are on the call, or I want to serve those that are on the call. Okay, if someone says, I'm not sure this will help me, or let me just address that. If they say, I'm not sure this will help me, you have not done a good job conveying the value, which really means to me, and this is, you're going to, Rima, you're in the program, you're in the money conversation, so you're going to get the script and everything. But you you haven't done a good enough job uncovering the cost. Like, what is it costing them to not have time, not be productive? I think your clients are disorganized, they don't have time, all of those things. You haven't uncovered what it's really costing them. What is it costing their relationship? What is it costing in their career, in their parenting, in all the different facets of their life, their health? How is this really like causing a problem for them? If they can see, if you can paint that ugly picture, that painful picture, you can get them to tap into the emotion of what's really not working. The part of them that has their back against the wall, if you can tap into that part that's done being done and it's over being over it, like they're ready to change. If they don't have a part of them that's not ready to change, then they're not for you, okay? But if there is a part of them that's ready for change and just so over the struggle, the pain point that you solve, if you can tap into that place with them through your questions, which is on the script, then your solution should look and feel like such a better option than staying stuck, right? Like the Money Conversations program, the sales program, $497, compare that to leaving $6,000 on the table every month that you could be making if you would just sell 3 of your program every month. It's minuscule. And we're just talking about 1 month. If you go and do that for the rest of the year, whatever that amount is, like that is like tons of money, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So we don't want them to compare the expense. Rima's clients are sometimes saying it's too expensive, because I'm reading your chats, Rima. You know what? The problem that they have is expensive. I'm going to use my business as an example. Not generating leads is an expensive problem to have. Sometimes you have to take time and money to get the leads, but not getting the leads costs way more than taking the time and money to get leads, or learning how to get leads and learning how to convert them. That's way more expensive than just learning how to do it or hiring a coach or whatever. So you need to get to the place in your own confidence and through your consultation process where you can show them that staying stuck is way more expensive than investing in your program. Investing, let me rephrase that, because I said at the top of the call, you are helping enroll people into their own transformation. Enrolling into their own transformation should feel and look like such a better option that they really can't deny that is so much better. And that's going to come from your program. And I know you're revamping your program and everything. So this is all going to come together for you. And if that helped you, Rima, let me know. I'm going to go on to Renee, where she's a virtual assistant and people are saying they need help. People say they have too much they need help with, that they can't hire anyone. I mean, that's so ridiculous. It must drive you crazy, Renee, because it's just such a ridiculous answer. It's like, that's why you need me, right? So that's something you need to master. Very similar to Nicole's business in a sense, even though she's not a virtual assistant. But if they have so much stuff they need help with, what you need to do, Renee, in your consultation is really dig into what it's costing them. And I keep saying this because it works. This is the part of the script that really works. It's like when you can really get them to tell you what it's costing them to not get these tasks done, they're going to see that it's a no-brainer. Like, how much more money with what you do, Renee, you can really correlate the time and money thing. How much more money are they going to make when they have you getting those tasks done for them, that it's going to free up time for them to do their genius tasks? Okay. So Renee is saying, that's what I tell them. That's why they need me. Well, you want them to tell you, Renee, because I know that I've taught you a little bit of this before. So there's a missing ingredient, and we haven't gone super in depth on it together, but that you have a missing ingredient. I think part of it is probably the way you're going about eliciting that information from them. Sometimes, it's hard for me to go super in depth on it, Renee, without like doing another hour training. But it probably the way that you're taking them through that process could be improved. And also, because it should be a no-brainer. It shouldn't be so hard to get people enrolled in virtual assistant services. So there's could be some other elements and other factors in play here. Sometimes if you're not getting people to enroll, and this is maybe not be for you, Renee, this is just in general. Sometimes if people aren't enrolling, your program needs to be fixed. It's not the program they want. That's not what they want to buy. So that's something. I don't think that that's necessarily the case for you, Renee, but I have people take out their calculator and everything. Like, you need them to whip out that calculator and crunch the numbers and figure out what it's really costing them and what they're actually going to gain. And then it's like reiterating, okay, so you're going to gain X number of hours in your week. What's that going to do for you? So-and-so. Oh my gosh, that's going to free up da-da-da. Okay, so when you free up X, Y, and Z, what's that going to do for you? And they're going to tell, oh, it's going to do this. Okay, great. And then what's that going to do for you? Like, it's like a drilling down question. And they're seeing more and more and more, wow, this is going to be great for me. And they start to feel a sense of relief from that. Which builds the desire to want to hire you. I hope this is helping, Renee. I want to address when someone says I have to think about it, okay? When someone says I need to think about it, again, this is all really short because I want to wrap up the webinar in a few minutes. So, we're covering it in the program, but I'm trying to do the best I can here because we've been on so long. When someone says I have to think about it, that's not good. You haven't shown them the value, okay? If they have to think about it, somehow they're not getting it, because see, and I don't think I hardly ever get that because of all the other things I've done that I've already taught you. The program I have is suited exactly for a certain person. I'm getting on the phone with those specific people, those ideal clients. It's kind of a no-brainer that they need the program, right? It's kind of a no-brainer that, wow, I really need your sales program, or wow, I really need this. It's coming down to money objections, or sometimes time objections. Sometimes I have to ask my husband objection. It's not usually coming down to, I need to think about it. So you could ask them, you say, sure, I understand, it's a big decision. If you want to write this down, I'll repeat it. Sure, I understand it's a big decision. So I want to make sure that I've covered everything, because usually if someone tells me they have to think about it, I feel like I probably, didn't answer all the questions, or I may have not answered the questions in the way that would make sense to you. And I haven't explained it in a way that would make sense to you. Remember, everyone has different learning style. So, you say, so can I ask you, what part of it do you need to think about it? Do you need to think about how the program is going to benefit you? Do you need to think about whether you're, motivated and committed? And they might say, oh, no, I'm motivated and committed. I'm just not sure about, and they might say something so random, like, I'm just not sure how long the modules are, and it's like, really? That's what you're wondering? But, we all have different learning styles. And it's typically a stall, okay? It's typically just, if they haven't said no, you need to isolate the truth, okay? So they say they need to think about it. Well, is that true? Or are they just, have you ever had someone, okay, I've done this. I'm guilty of it. You're in a store and you're like, yeah, I'm going to think about it and then I'll come back. I'm never going to do that again, by the way. I just realized, because it's just so annoying. You don't come back, So in that situation, some people don't come back and buy the thing. And a lot of times they don't. So you need to isolate the truth. No matter what objection they give you, you need to isolate the truth. Meaning, is it even true? Okay. Is it true that they need to think about something? Or are they're just saying it because they're not interested? And you can say, look, if you're not interested in booking more discovery sessions and learning how to convert more consultations, I totally get it. It's fine. And they're going to go, no, I want to do that. Oh, okay. So what do you need to think about? Because I feel like I haven't answered your questions. What do you need to think about? And then have them tell you. And again, you're isolating the truth. They're going to explain to you what it really is. It might just be fear. It might be that it might be a money issue. They're saying they need to think about it, but it's really, they have a money concern. And when you uncover that, you can then address that one. And I'll tell you how to do that in a second. But by the way, you're not going to overcome every objection. My closing ratio is about 80%. It's not 100%. So, I think it's awesome. I'm happy with that. That's great. You're not going to enroll every single person. The better you get at weeding people out and weeding out the wrong people, the more people you're going to enroll. But again, we have to get leads to begin with. Okay, so if someone says, I can't afford it, again, we need to isolate the truth. Is that really true? Okay, all right, I hear you. It's definitely an investment into your whatever it is, into your own, success, into your own weight loss, into whatever, your business. I get it. So you're agreeing with them. You're not making them bad or wrong or anything like that. You're not judging them. So when someone tells me that they can't afford it, I like to find out what that really means, because some people say I'm broke, but they have 10 grand in their, bank account. For someone, 10 grand in your bank account, you might feel broke. For another person, it might be $10 in your bank account, you feel broke. So you first of all, you can say to them, I get it. There's a financial investment here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to doing this? And if they say, well, I'm a 10, I just don't have the money, or I really can't afford it, you can say, that's fine. I can help you with that. We can talk about it. And then you go into what I just said about, I want to understand what you mean by I can't afford it. I know it sounds straightforward, but it kind of means something to different everybody. And, I've got different payment options and, things that we can discuss. So I really want to understand, when you say I can't afford it, what does that look like for you? What does that mean? And they can explain their situation. One question I love to ask is say, well, how can you afford it? And sometimes this leads to them going and working on creating the money and coming back to you. And sometimes this leads to them enrolling on the spot. For example, I was talking to a woman about a group online program that I had a couple years ago. And it was for my money program, not the sales program, but a money breakthrough program. So it was about money mindset. And she said, I can't afford it. And I said, okay, how committed are you? I mean, is this something you really want to do? And you see how this is going to really transform your relationship with money? Well, yes. I mean, I really want to do it. Okay, great. So how can you afford it? And I'm real quiet. And she said, well, I guess I could put $100 down, and then next week when I get paid, I could do the other $400. This is a $500 program, the home study, not a home study, but it was just a group online program. And I said, okay, great. And so she paid her $100. A week or so later, I charged her for the other $400, and she was in the program. So we make a lot of assumptions about people not being able to afford things. When someone says any objection to you, don't take it at face value. Even if, okay, this is going to sound really kind of out there. Even if they're like, my child is sick and this and that, my husband lost his job. I'm not saying we're not taking advantage of anyone. Okay, first of all, you have to have enough boundaries in your own money story to know that people's decisions are up to them, and you're not there to convince anyone. Okay, if you accept the I can't afford it at face value, you're basically saying, you're right, you're not resourceful. I bet you can't figure this out. And that is not empowering. If you're a coach or even a service provider, it's like to agree with someone that they're not resourceful is not okay in my book. So I'd rather ask questions and support them in looking at what are your options? If you say, well, how can you afford it? And they're like, well, I don't know. Well, what are your options? That's a more humane thing to do. That's more loving than to say, yeah, you're right. Okay, goodbye. It's like conversation over. And it just kind of, so what I do, if you can't overcome an objection, which you won't overcome them all, I give people an assignment. And this is the stuff I'm going like more in depth on, because I can't give you everything in this one. We're already way over. So we're going to end in a moment here, but it's giving them an assignment of something to do next. They want you to be their coach. They want to work with you. Give them something to do. Now, this isn't to set up a dynamic of, you're not going to start coaching them. So let's just be clear on that. You're not going to start doing stuff for them without them paying. But I am more than happy to stay in contact with people on a basis of they're getting their ducks in a row so that we can begin our work together. And I'll give them tips and, do this and try that. I'm not going to email them every day and all this kind of stuff and be coaching them. But you can give them an assignment. Maybe they need to get more clear on why they want to lose weight, or why they want to do this, or why they want to do that. Or it could be, if you're a VA, like, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to make a list of all the tasks that you do that you hate, and what they're costing you. And let's get on the phone 2 days from now, and let's take a look at that again. So if you're not able to overcome an objection, you can also, if it's the money thing, you can also, deal with it that way. But that's like a last resort. I want you to address it head on. And people are going to appreciate you for it. Now, you're going to have some people that don't like it. They don't like direct questions, and and that's, you're going to ruffle a feather here and there, and that's just the reality of it. So before I want to get to more questions here. All right. So what other objections are you getting? I think I can cover at least one more. And let me take a look at my notes, because I had some other objections people wanted me to. Here we go. Of course, I got to cover this one. What do you do if they say I have to talk to my spouse? Okay. The reason why this is such a touchy one, and we're so scared to even just go there, is because when someone's made an agreement with their spouse to not spend a certain amount of money, without talking to them, like, it's really not cool to dig into that. That's not something we really want to do. So how can you do it? Right? Because, again, most objections are a stall, and we have to isolate the truth of it. So the thing about it is they're like, if they say I need to talk to my husband, you can say, great, that makes a lot of sense. I totally get it. Do you think your husband's going to have a lot of questions about what we covered today? And they might say, yeah. Okay, well, what type of questions do you think he's going to ask? Well, he's probably going to want to know the price. And you could say, okay, well, what do you think he's going to say about the price? Well, he's probably going to say it's too much, and I shouldn't do something like this. And then I would want to know, well, what do you think about the price? Because if you don't isolate whether it's her, we'll just say it's a girl, a woman, her money concern versus her husband's. Because if you haven't even addressed her money concern, because she's the one that has to go now sell it to her husband, and that often does not work. Okay, unless you're the woman like me that's like, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and then so there you go. I'm letting you know that I'm doing this. Not every marriage is set up that way. And I fully respect people that have that rule, because I think, especially when you combine your finances with someone else, it's like, you can't just go and disrespect the other person. It's like, you got to be mindful. So I never want to disrespect someone's marital agreements. Come on, that's huge. One way you can circumvent this is, depending on your business, okay? You could ask before you even have the consult, is there anyone else that's going to help you make this decision? Because this is an in-depth consult, and this is to really determine if this is right for you and get you enrolled if it is, so that we can get you on your way to whatever the result they want. Is this a decision you're going to make totally on your own? Or are you going to or is there going to be someone else that needs to be with you, in agreement with this? And then in that case, depending on your business and your comfort level and the client's comfort level, they may not want their husband listening to their discovery session, but at least kind of plants the seed that, like, do you make this decision or does your husband? And in some cases, you might want both parties on the phone. You might want both people, like, well, let's have you both get on, and it depends, it's really with coaching and things like this. It's really, it depends. You can also set up an appointment to get back on the phone with the husband as well. And especially what they tell you about their partner. You can say, look, don't try to enroll your husband on this idea. Let's have another phone call where we all get on the phone and, we can talk about, how this is going to benefit you. And I can answer his questions. I'm the expert on this program. I'll be happy to answer his questions and any objections he has about the price. So you can also do it that way. Again, not everyone has this rule. So you want to isolate the truth. Are they saying they need to talk to their husband because there's a stall? And then a lot of times people come back and they haven't convinced their husband. So someone said, I had a client who told me they lost their job and had moved back in with their dad, so they couldn't. It's like, why are we having this discovery session? This is where, Lorna, I would, and that could be a stall too, Lorna. I mean, people say they don't have money all the time. And then the next week you see on Facebook, they went to Hawaii, right? So, it happens all the time. And so that it could be just not true, that the person can't do it. I would want to explore that. Okay, I understand you lost your job. So you're living with your dad. Got it. Okay. And so if I'm not getting why, so they moved in with their dad and they lost their job. Why does that mean they can't do it? I mean, I need more specifics, but it's like, if the person's like, well, I've tapped out all my savings, I have $0. I would then want to go back to, what are your options? First of all, do they want to do it? Okay. Secondly, if you could circumvent this in the first place by saying, this is for someone who's serious about breaking through this limitation and is serious about taking action with my program once we've laid out a clear path. Because then you're weeding people out. Now, if you don't have a ton of discovery sessions, you might just want to do more so you can kind of get your feet wet. But at a certain point, it's just frustrating. So again, the pre-qualifying is going to work for you, Lorna. Also, isolate the truth. If she says she doesn't, like, I have $0 in my bank account, I had a client who said they were living with their parents. I think she had moved back in after college. She had $1,000 to her name. And did I go into whole drama about that? Oh my God, I'm taking her last $1,000. No, I'm not taking anyone's last $1,000. I just helped her see what was going to be the benefit of finally pricing and packaging her expertise and being able to enroll people in high-end packages. And I think it was like after our second session, she went and sold a $3,000 package. She's a health coach. So, she made her money back and she sold some other packages and she made her money back many times. And I don't know what she's doing now because I worked with her for 6 months and then that was a long time ago. But the thing about it is, it's like, we can't be responsible for someone else's money story. So what is it that they are, what are they going to get at? Why is this a problem? Like, I don't know why. You're a health coach, Lorna, right? So it's like, I don't know why, if it was emotional eating or whatever it was, like, why is that a problem? Maybe in some way, shape, or form, it was part of her losing her job. I don't know. I mean, you would have had to uncover a lot of that in the discovery session, but like, how is this a problem for you? How is this going to prevent you from getting back on your feet, finding another job? Like, what is this problem with emotional eating really doing to you in your life? What's going to be the benefit of having a coach that can help you break through all this crap and get into a more positive energy that's probably going to help you attract a job? Like, you're not promising all that, but it's like you're uncovering what it's really costing her. And I just think if that was her answer, part of me is like, well, why are you on this call? But I mean, obviously she got on the call for a reason. So you need to just dig more into what her initial pain points are and bring that back around. And you can say, well, how can you, first of all, how bad do you want to do this? If they're like, well, I don't really want to do it, then the thing about moving in with her dad was just a lie. And I don't think people are meaning to lie, but it's just a stall and it's not accurate. So you have to isolate the truth. Question the objection. Don't just accept it and go, okay, well, she can't afford it. Next. It's like, you can say, look, let's say her name is Susan. Look, Susan, we're on this call for a reason. You opted in to talk to me for a reason. And we've uncovered that you have this pain point of XYZ. How does that relate to you moving back in with your dad, losing your job? How does that relate to everything where you are in your life right now? Because in a situation like that, there's probably no mistake that her life has culminated in such a way that she lost her job and moved back in with her dad. Not that that's anything wrong. I mean, it happens to everyone where sometimes you need help, right? But things happen. But, what's her personal responsibility in that? How was the issue of her eating and her health being mirrored through this whole life situation that happened? That's really where you could go with it to build the value. So, all right, I am going to, I could go on and on and on and on, and I won't, because it's been 2 hours that I've been getting to be with all of you, and it's been so much fun. If hopefully now you've seen the value of my training, and there's so much more. So join us at moneyconversationsmadeeasy.com. There's still a couple spots, like, for the first 5 people, you will get a session with me. Well, I'll help you with your discovery session offer so you can get more people to take advantage of that offer. And then we'll work on, your closing ratio, increasing that, because you want to get to like 70 or 80%. So for those of you taking advantage of that, I can't wait to work with you. Before we started the call, there was 11 spots left in the program. We officially start module 1 in 2 weeks, and they're all recorded. It's all in the membership site for those of you that are in the UK where it's like too late or too early or whatever it may be for you. Probably too late is more correct, but if you're like in Australia, then it's too early. So they're all recorded. You'll get everything. So thank you, everyone. I had so much fun being with all of you. I hope you got a ton of value. And I will send out, you'll get the replay, and you'll be able to share it with others who need this information. And I hope to see you in the course. Bye, everybody.